Welcome back, everybody, to episode 18 of the NFC East Podcast. Joining me today is Joey, Joey, the Cowboys fan. I almost made him throw up right there. And then Dan, the Eagles fan. Today, we have the top 10 Tuesdays, top 10 teams of Week 12 heading into that week. And I'm very excited for this week. We said kind of heading into the picks last week and the top 10 list, how the following week was going to be huge for a lot of these teams. And it was. We had some narrative shattering, upsets in Week 11, and these lists are going to be all about reacting to that and what we think for next week. So quickly, we're going to show all three lists for each of us, and then we're going to discuss the differences among them. So starting off with my list, at number 10, I still have the Packers. I dropped them 3 spots. 9, I got the Bills. 8, I have the Lions, who have dropped 5 spots for me after their loss. And then number 7, I have the Chiefs, who dropped 5 spots. And then 6, I have the Broncos with the massive upset, who are new on my list, taking the spot above the Chiefs. Number 5, I have the Seahawks, who rose 3 spots this week. Even though they lost, I was really impressed with how they played, and they've proved a lot this year. Number 4, Colts, they moved up a spot for me, from the bye, just kind of surviving. 3, Patriots, they moved up 1 spot. They've just been climbing all year. And then number 2, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who in prime time just completely shut down the Detroit Lions offense. I have them +4. It's my second best team. And number 1, I got the Rams. So that's my list. Who wants to go next?
I got it.
Joey is next. Let me pull you up. All right, your list is on the screen.
Honorable mentions, I'll start there. I got the Chiefs. 5-5, they cannot be in your top 10. They're not even in the playoff picture, so why would they be in your top 10? The Steelers, the Ravens, can't decide who's the best team in that division, so therefore none of them are in my top 10. The Chargers, they got dog-walked by the Jags. They're done. Then I got the Bucks and the Cowboys.
So that's your honorable mentions bunch.
Don't sleep on the Cowboys. They're coming. They're going to put BTA this week. You got that, Danny? BTA.
Yeah. We'll see how this goes, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10,
I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. We saw what happened. They decided to change their whole I shouldn't ramble like this because we got to go quick. But we saw what they did with their run game. They dominated. They absolutely cooked the Chargers. To me, that was a statement win. That was like a culture type win. And, they are holding on to that last spot. They have a 2-game lead on the Chiefs and the Texans. So for that reason, I got them at 10. Number 9, I got the Bears. They're number 1 in their division. Caleb Williams, he's finding the way to win. Those are games the Bears typically lose. Therefore, I put them at 9. Number 8, the Bills. Don't believe in the Bills. Got to put them at 8. But, they're just there. They're there because they have to be.
Yeah.
Number 7, the Detroit Lions. I still have them as the best team in the division in the NFC North, but, who knows what's going to happen here with the Bears. That's something to watch. I would have predicted the Lions to win the division, but we're going to have to find out. Number 6, I got the Colts. They kind of they fell a little bit because of the bye. They didn't play. I just find these 5 teams better than the Colts. Also, just don't know how to feel about Daniel Jones yet. I feel like these other teams are kind of different. Number 5, we got the Broncos. Dominant defense. They dismantled the Chiefs. They're going to win the division. They are a team to watch. They don't even have Patrick Surtain right now. Wait until they get that guy back. He's the best corner in football. Number 4, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Similar to the Broncos, best defense in football. They fell into a quick hole, 14-0, and they held the Rams to 7 points the rest of the way. To me, that's a W. Could have won this game. They should have won this game, even with 4 picks. But for that reason, I got them at 4. Number 3, we got the Rams. This is just because I have to put them here. In my realistic thoughts, I got Seattle above the Rams. I think Seattle will still win the division. We're going to have to wait on that one. Number 2, I got the Patriots. I think this is the best team in the AFC. Drake May's only 23. Best quarterback in the AFC. And then number 1, we got the Eagles. Not much to say about
rising 9 spots for you.
That hurts to say, I know, Joey.
No, it doesn't hurt to say. I think it's the correct take here because we got, they beat a lot of these top 10 teams. So how can I not put them here? It would be, I'd be lying to you if I had them any lower than number 1. They beat all these winning teams. So if you have any team above the Eagles, you're lying to yourself. You are in denial about the truth. Okay. And you should want them at number 1 because you don't want them to have. You don't want them to have. You don't want them to have the underdog mentality. That's something you want to avoid here. Put them at number one.
I do believe in that superstition. That is why I put them number one heading into the season. I was trying to curse them, but I also do see coming into this year, they were the best team coming into this season. I mean, they just won the Super Bowl. They didn't lose too much, so I'm not. They're my number 2 team, but like I said, we'll come around to that. And then Dan, time for your list. You ready?
Alrighty, let's ball out. Okay, so coming at number 10, I had the Bears. I switched it to the Broncos. Personally, I think these two teams are interchangeable, but hey, we're going to keep it rolling. Number 9, I got the Bills coming up. Number 8, I got the Bucks. To me, even though, yes, the Bucks did lose to the Bills this week, the amount of injuries that the Bucks have, I'm not going to hate on them, especially for them to keep up, and the Bills are inconsistent. So that's kind of why I have that situation right now. Everyone's not really going to agree with me on this one, but I still got to keep the Chiefs at, 7 for right now, just because, like I said, it's November. This game occurred. I'm not done yet. We got one more game until I can really talk about that. Going into 10-8, 10-9, 8-7. Number 6, I got the Rams. Mm-hmm. And the Rams, you're really going to hear this take from me, but it's going to be interesting because I feel like it's something that other people are really starting to not see, but hey, we'll get into that conversation. Going into 5, I got the Lions. They dropped the spot for me because, like I said, they lost this week. Jared Goff looked flustered. A lot of things happened that we've never seen the Lions get put into. And Cam Newton decided to go and say that Philly's never seen something like this. Clearly, the Lions never seen anything like this. So, your boy. Next, going into it, the Patriots, of course, I still got to give them their respect. They balled out. They're doing what they got to do. I think they had a bye this week, if I'm correct, or they played.
Who's that?
They played Thursday. They played Thursday against the Jets, right?
The Patriots, yep.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
they did what they needed to do. Yeah. Then the Colts are still top 3 for me. They're coming into 3. The Seahawks, I can't hate on them. I think they're still freaking dominant. I think, to me, for them to come back the way that they did against the Rams and the Rams squeezing it at the last drop to be able to get out of that situation shows to me that, give it time, give it practice, and for Ernest Jones, the 4th, to come into post-game interview and being like, you want to talk crazy about my quarterback? You could blow my shit. Bro, I was like, oh, this team's about that. So, I got to give them that respect. That's why they're at 2 for me. And, of course, number 1, it's the Birds, baby. All day, every day, bro. Come on now. All these teams that are listed below, we've already beat them. You know what I mean? Besides the Seahawks, we haven't played the Colts yet. It's I'm going to give them this is now where we got to start, giving the respect. I understand there's the struggles. I understand there's the hardships and everything. But it's you got to admit now with this game, we were able to at least slowly get more and more away from that situation. The defense saved the game, but hey, Joey and I can agree one thing: defense wins championships. So that's where we at.
Stop you there, Danny. Let me just ask you this: how are the Eagles winning these games? They're not pretty, right? But what's the key here? They're winning, right?
They're winning.
Yeah, so no matter what, they're finding ways to win. So if you're trying to belittle them at all, just look in the mirror, man. You're just trying to push a narrative that's not true.
It's one of those things, right? For example, right? It's okay, so you know what, Scotty? Let's talk about the Rams, bro.
Is there a question coming?
No, let's talk about the Rams, Scotty. Okay, chat. Get this shit live. Okay.
Are we going Rams Seahawks? Is that where this is going?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Rams. We're going to talk about Rams, just point blank, period. Okay?
Rams, Eagles.
So with me for the Rams, okay, well, guess me. They have had 2 big-time significant games, i.e. the Eagles and the Seahawks now. And this Seahawks team, Scott, you've said before, and you don't believe in Sam Darnold, you don't believe in all this in between. My thing is, you just barely squeezed it out, beating the Seahawks, and you allowed it earlier in the season against the Eagles. And there has been numerous other games where they have a hard time putting the ball, just stop it on the throat, slamming the gas, running with the game. And that was one point that you said with the Eagles, that you're saying if that consistency doesn't show, how in the hell can you go into the playoffs against playoff football? Mind you, Stafford's had the experience. We agree. I know that. But how can you go into the playoffs into situations where you can't, end it, call it? You're ahead, you're in it. get out of the way. But no, it's like the defense allows the game to happen, and the offense can't stomp on the throat. And the Rams have done that numerous times. So it's like that's where I really I'm curious about that.
So what you want to know is what I trust more about the Rams in close
And a
playoff games
defending
compared to
Super
the
Bowl champion.
Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs, who have
Team
for
that's been
me,
there twice in the last
who
3 years.
I will do that. I've
team that
got
eliminated
it.
them
I've
last
got
year.
it.
The team that beat them this year.
Saquon has ran
came
for
back
over like
26
200
7-1.
yards 3 games in a row on them.
Now, as you always like to talk about Sam Darnold and how the Rams defensive coordinator owns them, guess who owns the Rams? The Eagles.
So
Justify that, Scott.
So the question was, why do I like the Rams number 1 over the Eagles? As they've stated, the Eagles have defeated the Rams earlier in the season, the Buccaneers earlier in the season, the Chiefs earlier in the season, the Packers, and the Lions. That is the most elite wins. Teams, of the top, even I would say 7 teams, especially talent and potential wise, at some point in the season were ranked up through there. I have mentioned in the past how that ugly, loss to the Giants sticks in my brain,
like it
as it always does. And what I've sort of grown from since the Giants game is I do think at least the team has like a lot more on defense now, whereas I feel like if they had that defense versus the Giants and they didn't have Jalen Carter in that game, like it's not as bad, with all of the context and seeing what they have now. That loss doesn't hurt as bad. So I will give the Eagles credit for that, and they are my number 2 team. I do think they would, if they won the NFC Championship instead of the Rams, I do think they would be whoever came out of the AFC. I do believe that, because the way the Eagles finish games is with their run game, their defense being able to shut the door, something the Rams haven't done. But what the Rams I trust a lot more in is in those comeback situations. That's something we haven't seen from the Eagles in any playoff game. Hold on. The Eagles
against the Rams. 26-7. They came back and won. What are you talking about?
Did you hear my point? They did not come back versus them in the playoffs. That's not something we've seen from the Eagles at any point in any of the playoff games. They've been leading through all their playoff games, and typically when they have these winning streaks, they're dominating time of possession, and they score early, and they do a good job of these things, and that's why they are so good. But I think they can't jump out ahead. Like, we saw the Rams come out and score 2 touchdowns against the Seahawks, and we're talking like that's bad. Like, if it was, 7 points through the first 3 quarters and 14, I would like that too. I would like that more, but I think he can do that too. I think if he needed to do that, Stafford and the Rams, they would be able to do that. With the passing game that they have and that they lean on, I think it's a lot more effective and reliable in terms of, like, you have an answer to anything. When with the run game and the Eagles, like Lane Johnson just went down, like, I understand they still look really good, but it's just like, how many shots can this Eagles team take? They are very resilient. They're very deep, but I'm just wondering, like, they're taking more this year than they have last year. So it's just, I don't think they are who they were last year, which is, kind of the core of this. The Eagles, I think they're a little bit worse than they were last year. And I thought the 2 best teams that played last year in the playoffs were the Rams and Eagles. That was the best playoff game last year. And it was the 2 best teams. And here we are now. The Rams, what they've proven to me since then is that you forgot one of their critical games, Dan. They did play the Colts, and they not really shut down, but they contained Jonathan Taylor to the point that he did not beat them in that game. And that's like, Saquon Barkley, similar sort of thing. In that game, they really contained him. That's not happening like it did last year. So that's what they're proving to me so far in the regular season. Does the late game defense, the corners being light and, easy to beat with, physical wide receivers, does that scare me? Yeah, it does. And so do, having all those special teams errors in the end of the game versus the Eagles. Conversely, the Eagles, a lot of these elite wins have come off of those special teams, and like how repeatable is that stuff compared to like Stafford and the passing game is kind of the root of my confidence in the Rams.
That Rams game that you mentioned beforehand, the Eagles had, I think I was watching it live, like 6 muffed kick returns. Like Tank Bigsby could not, he was bobbling shit, and they started almost every single drive from like the 15, if the 10 at the most. So it's like there was a tremendous amount of like special team errors that we've had, and like again we were behind that game 26-7 at the beginning of the half, and that's when all of the special team errors were happening. So I guess that's where to me it's just like the Rams, like for example, you said like the Eagles never had a good like comeback situation, but it's like
playoffs.
The Rams in the playoffs when they played us and they needed to come back, they couldn't do that either.
We were very, very close. Come on now. You were sweating.
So we're giving credit now for being close. So why can't Seattle get the credit?
No, because I gave Seattle credit. I moved them up 3 spots. I moved them up 3 spots after a loss. So I did apply that. I have never moved someone up after a loss, I don't think yet. Go ahead.
So that's why I guess to me too, it's just like, for example, like I know we're talking about like, so it's like the playoff situation. I get that, but you brought up the Colts beforehand. They were able to contain Jonathan Taylor, and it's like the Colts made, again, like one mistake and Tutu Atwell just won it with a game-winning drive. And it's one of those things where it's like you would never have to be in those situations if, again, the defense, yes, contained Jonathan Taylor, but you contained the one player.
Game.
Say that again.
Daniel Jones had 2 picks there, and they were still close in the game.
Yeah, they lost by a touchdown.
Yeah. And it's like usually when you get 2 picks, for example, it's like when we got 2 picks on the Lions, or when we got a pick on the Lions and then contained them, we were up by 2 scores the whole game. So right there, you're just like, whatever, stress free. But it's like,
I mean,
like,
I think you guys are underestimating one thing about the Rams, which is my fault for not talking about it enough, and that's their defense this year. Like, I did kind of hint at it with how they contain the running backs, but they're the second best. They're tied with the Broncos in EPA for defense. They're ranked second in the NFL. And having that with Stafford and McVay on this offense is just something I'm not sure exists on any other team in the NFL this year, because I know the Eagles have a great defense, but it's Jalen Hurts in this offense and Kevin Patullo. And then with the Broncos, it's how's the mind meld between Sean Payton and Bo Nix. And then with the Texans, we know their offense is broken. And this Rams team, like their crucial flaw heading into this year was the run defense, and it appears that's not an issue anymore. In fact, their defense is a stronger part of their team than their offense has been recently. But I would honestly bet, if you guys keep saying about all these other teams, give it time. Give these guys time. Give Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford time, and they'll make just as much out of it as anyone else, just as much as Reed and Mahomes. They will make that much out of it, and I don't think other quarterbacks and coaches are on that tier. And I think it's easier for the Rams to clean up special teams issues than it is for the Eagles to clean up their offensive struggles.
So I guess to me, the only thing that gets me agitated, right, about this whole McVay thing and Matthew Stafford, while like love those guys, think they're freaking fantastic duo and everything, it's like Matthew Stafford, right? Let's be for real, won his first Super Bowl with Cooper Kupp, Odell when he was still functional.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? A solid ass O line. The running back at the time was Todd Gurley still. No, it was like Blake Corum, right, or something like that.
It was Cam Akers.
Yeah,
Cam Akers. Yes, Cam Akers
off the Achilles.
Off the Achilles, and then their defense was Aaron Donald,
Jalen Ramsey,
Von Miller,
Jalen
Ramsey.
I think was Bobby Wagner on their team too.
Bobby Wagner was on that team.
Yeah, it was.
So my thing is, right, it's like the Eagles get so much ish. You need to build a super team. You need to do this. You need to do that. The Rams legitimately at that time had one of the most broken teams.
Yeah, it was
in that year.
No, it was probably the most broken team since the Brady Bucks team. they
Since
kind
that
of
Brady,
it
Brady
was
era. I'm
right
saying
after
that year.
it was right after another like loaded team. It was after the
Danny,
That's what I'm saying. Like right
Danny,
after
it was
that
all
year, and now
Stafford and
we come
McVay.
to this situation with the Eagles. In this situation, and it's like we're loaded up. We got it situated. The Rams are like, oh yeah, we're picking it up, and everything in between. And it's just like the Eagles. I guess that Rams team was like, oh my god, Stafford's amazing. This, that, and the third, whatever the case is. The Rams are crazy. They broke that apart, and it's like they haven't been able to like reach that level. And I know you said beforehand, like, oh, the Eagles team that year, last year, does not look like this same team this year. But now it's like that Rams team that we saw in the Super Bowl definitely is not the same team that we see here. But you look at them and you're like, that's the team I like. That team is solid. It's just like we don't know, just like we don't know with this Eagles team that has changed, but is still able to consistently win and came back against them.
And because of that, Danny, that's why I feel like you have to give the edge to the Eagles because they won the head-to-head game. I think it's ridiculous to put the Rams above them. You guys came back 26-7 and beat them. Like, what's the justification there? Because we're both we're both asking for the same thing here of giving them time.
There's like 2 points here. There's 2 points here, right?
Okay.
Is this Rams team the same caliber as the one that won the Super Bowl, and then like how they match up against the Eagles, into the playoffs? What's the second one? What's the second question here?
The second question was, it's like, so now that you looked at the Eagles team and you stated like, oh, this team doesn't look like as strong as that team.
Yeah.
How can you look at the Rams and be like, oh, like that team that they won the Super Bowl with is definitely not the team that they have now. So what makes you look at these two teams that definitely don't have the same caliber team they had when they won the Super Bowl and be like, after the Eagles beat them, be like, the Rams are it. The Rams got it.
So
Matthew Stafford.
So the Rams, as I said, we're talking about they had a super team, right? They had the best team in the league that year from a roster standpoint, and the coach and quarterback. So obviously they had the best shot to win the Super Bowl. But like I just said, like they're second in EPA on defense, and then on offense they're 8th. Now the Lions are 7th on offense, and they are 5th on defense. So they're like kind of like a comparable team archetype. But I think I trust the Rams offense a lot more than the Lions based on what we've seen, especially like comparing in the Eagles game, and then same thing with the defense. But back to the questions here. Like I understand that they don't have like Aaron Donald anymore, and they don't have Jalen Ramsey. But the bottom line is the production they're putting out is of a best defense in the NFL, and a defense that has, done some things we haven't seen other teams do this year. What did they just do to the Seahawks offense? They just made Sam Darnold throw 4 interceptions after everyone was trying to put them as the best team in the NFL and say, he was the MVP and all this kind of stuff, and that Sammy D would never return. And I'm saying this Rams team and Chris Shula has his number, and they figured it out. So I get they don't have the names. But this defense is playing to that caliber, and the offense they've got just as much talent as they've ever had. They have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. This offensive line is healthy. They have an assortment of running backs. I don't see any reason outside of like some lingering injury that doesn't seem to be there for Matthew Stafford to hold this offense back. And I don't know why you guys don't see that, because when I look at what the Eagles are this year compared to last year, until they made these trades on defense, they haven't looked the same. They really haven't. And the way that they're winning these games, like I said, is not something that I see like, oh, I feel good about that going into the playoffs. No, I feel good about Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl when he had this loaded roster, but they needed him to go down and score a go-ahead touchdown, and he got it. And he got it done. That trash Bengals defense got to the Super Bowl, and as much as I trashed them, it wasn't because of the defense. It was because of their offensive line. That's why they lost that Super Bowl. That defense played well. No, Joe Burrow got sacked like 70 times that season. Nobody's ever got sacked 50 times and made it to a Super Bowl. So I'm pretty sure it was them. What do you mean nobody cares? It's just a fact about what happened.
It's just a simple fact. No one remembers the loser.
We're talking. No one remembers the loser. We're talking about how far you can get. It's relevant. it is relevant if you make it to the Super Bowl, even
The
if
whole
you
thing
lose.
here is like you talk about, you mentioned again how the Rams have Sam Darnold's number, but you don't give credit to the Eagles for owning the Rams. And that's what we're kind of talking about here is the Eagles
I'm
ranking versus
projecting.
the Rams.
I'm projecting. I'll say I'm projecting. It's not like something that's happened yet, but I'm projecting this playoffs that this Rams team is going to show up and they're going to be better than the Eagles this time. And I don't think it's really that crazy when you consider what the Eagles have gone through. They just went all the way to the Super Bowl. That's a long season. And then the way they started this year. So all the stress and the anxiety, they're not as locked in as they were last year. They made these trades. Yeah, they have the talent, but can they do it 2 years in a row? It's not. I'm not going to say they can't, but there was a 2023. There was a collapse after last Super Bowl. So like, I don't see why. The only reason the Rams have ever collapsed is because of injuries and like Stafford and things like that. With the Eagles, yes, Hurts was banged up. They had a bunch of injuries on their defense.
Like I also look at the mental aspect. Like when you lose the Super Bowl, that's definitely like very, very like hurtful going into the following season.
I think I would rather. I guess winning versus losing the Super Bowl. To me, it's like you could go either way with both of those ways. I can quickly lay out both points of view. But my point is you are playing until February. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You're playing till February. You have only a month or two before you have to get ready for the next season. That's really what it's mostly about. But when it comes to winning or losing the Super Bowl, I don't know. I always kind of imagine that losing it would motivate you to get back there, whereas winning it would be like, oh, you went out and partied, and that's where the metaphor of hangover comes from because you made it to the Super Bowl. And so you're content and complacent going into the next season. You think you could do it again. Whereas if you lose, you've been humbled in the most powerful way you really could be. So I think to an extent, I mean, Hurts said it himself how much that moved him to continue to motivate the team until this day. He still thinks about it. So I think it was a good thing for him.
Either way, I think it's time we move on from this topic because
I agree.
We're just not gonna agree.
So we're not gonna agree. You're right, but I think it was a good conversation. So we've talked about the Rams and we've talked about the Eagles. Do we want to talk about the Seahawks? Is that what you said before, Joey?
I talk about the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, right?
Talk about the Chiefs.
Are the Chiefs still top 10? So me and Dan agree on this one. We both have the Chiefs in our list, and Joey does not. Joey does not have the Chiefs on his list. So.
The Chiefs still the Chiefs. The answer is no.
I would like Joey to lay out his case why he thinks the Chiefs should not be a top 10 team, and then I suppose we will ask him questions after. Unless if you would like us to just ask you first.
Let me just start off by telling you guys what's the Chiefs' record? They're 5-5. What's their current rank right now in the AFC? There's a playoff. How do the playoffs work? Top 7 or a playoff team, right? NFC, AFC. That means we have 14 teams in playoff contention. Right now, the Chiefs are ranked 9th in the AFC, and they have a uphill battle. They need to go basically like 6-1 if they want a chance at the 7th seed. The Jaguars hold a 2-game lead on them. Then you got the Ravens vying for a playoff spot, just as like the Chiefs. And then you also got the Texans who are hanging around, who are currently ahead of the Chiefs. Let's go look at the Chiefs' remaining schedule. But regardless, last year
Texans are still in there. I'm not even gonna lie.
Regardless, though, last year, what was the key factor in the Chiefs' season? They were undefeated in one-score games, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that stat? Undefeated? This year, they're like 0-5 in one-score games.
Yeah, they're really shitty. Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that stat. Yeah.
So it's completely flipped. It completely flipped on their heads. And they're just not getting it done. And then when it comes to ranking them, how can I put them on my list when they're barely a top 10 team in their conference? That's what it comes down to. But let's get to the schedule for the Chiefs. They play the Colts next.
Huge game.
The Colts are coming off a bye. So how do you think that's going to go? The Colts are the more talented team. All of my top 10 teams have more talent than the Chiefs do. Do the Chiefs have the better quarterback? Yes. Do they have a great receiver? Yes. Outside of that, what do they have? They have one of the worst run games in football. Mahomes, for a long time, led them in rushing yards. They can't run the ball. Their defense hasn't been terrible, but it's just like they're not getting it done. And here's what we got.
They're putting them in bad positions, yeah.
Yeah, we got the Colts next on Thanksgiving. They play at Dallas. That's going to be electric. Two teams that are trying to get in
Oh,
the playoffs.
they play at Dallas, the
Yeah, that's
Chiefs.
kind of I kind of feel like that's an advantage for Dallas just with the D tackles we got now, and then of course we got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, so that's going to be a headache for the Chiefs. After that, they play the Texans, then they play the Chargers, then it's the Titans, then they got the Broncos Week 17, and the Raiders. So really, what I'm looking at here is they could go like 3-4 here, 4-3. They're not going to make the playoffs going 4-3. So why would I put them in my top 10 list? Oh, for what they've done in their past. What have you done for me lately? That's kind of what my feeling is with them. I digress.
I'll take that. That was a strong point. Strong point. But at the same time, too, how I look at it is like, who's the man that's leading it? Mahomes. Am I ever gonna doubt him really like that? Not at all. You know what I mean? As the Eagles fan, I've had Andy Reid my entire childhood. And you know what this reminds me of? The years before he got fired. And why I say that is because of the fact that the play calling from the style of just how the offense is moving and how they're going, it looks like when I feel like Shady and them were like just starting to get into their prime and they were just trying to put it together. And then it was just a hard, freaking like rough time because at the time, what's it called? It was like they thought he was getting old. They thought his style was starting to just lose it a little bit. But also, too, like they're banking on like, Rashee Rice is a good receiver, but like Worthy, he's pretty freaking small. Like Kelsey's getting old. They can't run the ball. Their running backs are literally what?
Some of
Hunt,
the,
Pacheco, and
some of the worst in football.
yeah, like they legitimately cannot run, and it's
Their O
like, and they
line is
have a
not good.
solid O line.
I
Like,
disagree. They got bad tackles. They can't
well,
block.
bad tackles, but I'm saying interior runs for power running backs like Pacheco and Hunt, they should be eating that all day.
Yeah, but they still can't establish the run. That's what kills them. They have
That, that that's
They
what
should
that's
have
AD.
that's
they
why
should
I'm
have
saying it
gotten a running
irritates me.
back for sure.
Yeah.
They should have got Brees
If you
Hall.
take away Rasheed Rice, you're gonna beat the Chiefs because they really have nothing outside of that. You got the ghost of Travis Kelce out there. Granted, he played well against the Broncos, but outside of that, he's been not the same guy. He's taken a step back, and then overall, it's just the whole unit in a whole. When we look at it, it's taken a step back.
And also too, as we said beforehand, like defense wins championships. I feel like I've seen this defense keep the Chiefs in the games numerous times. Like to me, overall, it's like I can't take them out. Like this Colts game will show me a lot because in reality, it's like again, the Broncos for me have never been enough of a sample size because we saw it last year, and I know you're gonna say like last year doesn't matter. I understand that 100%, but it's like they've played such basic football against the Broncos for years to come, and they thought they can go through with it. And Vance Joseph itself, like Scott mentioned, it was a good point that like Vance Joseph has seen this defense and offense for so long that hey, you start to like recognize a lot of things and how to stop things. That's why to me, like for example, rivals are teams that it's like they've seen you so many times, they really know what you're trying to do more than anybody. That's why it's like we'll go like and have a good game like this against the Lions and of the Packers, and then all of a sudden we play the freaking Giants and we forget how to play football, or we play against the Commanders and we always have a hard time and freaking split it with them every year. So it's like with rivals and teams that you don't look at like, oh, we don't gotta try so hard because they don't have this or they don't have that. The Chiefs have always done that, and I feel like this Colts game, well, is definitely my game. That if they win, I have to keep them there. If they lose, they're gone. Like that's really it for me. Like,
Well, I certainly feel pretty strongly about this, especially since I had the Chiefs number 2 last week, which looking back now after that Broncos loss was definitely too high, but I don't think I'm wrong for keeping them in the top 10. I honestly really don't feel that they'll drop further below this unless if there's at number 7 for me. I don't think they're going to drop much further below that unless if they have some crazy injuries or something like that. And the Chiefs have changed this year. Over the past 3 years, they've been this weaponless, defensive-heavy, Patrick Mahomes-led, machine that had gotten them to the 3 straight Super Bowls. But it's different this year. It's not that the defense is not as strong. Their defensive EPA is 14th this season, which is average. Yeah, it's not nearly what it's been. And I think Chris Jones and how much they're able to rely on him. That is expiring. I do think that could come back to bite them, if anything is going to come back to bite them. But what we have seen this year is ultimately still a great increase in offensive production. I agree. The run game is very underwhelming for them, but I still think that's okay if the threat of Patrick Mahomes is enough for defenses to worry about. They're the third best offense in the EPA this season at .14. Their run game is not the reason for it. It's all been Patrick Mahomes. And when you look at the details of the spreadsheet, it's the things like sack percentage, scramble percentage, and interception percentage that they're excelling at in the passing game. And it just shows the clean football. And, the rush, a lot of the rushing, honestly, most of the rushing production's coming from him when it comes to, so it's just really him putting the team on his back. And,
can we stop it there?
One second. Like I kind of said about Stafford and having him in the playoffs and him being able to have the game in his hands and it being set up that way, and you have something to work with at least on offense. I really, really trust that. And to be honest, if making the AFC Championship every season isn't enough for you to have faith in a 500 football team, like 500 football teams at 5-5 make the playoffs. It happens. 500 football teams make the playoffs all the time. And if you don't have faith in the Chiefs, if they haven't done enough over the past 7 or 8 years, I don't know who has done enough for you to have at least
There's only
been
one team to win the Super Bowl being 5-5.
At one point.
And I think, I don't remember which team, but I remember seeing that stat in the game when it was the Chiefs playing. There's only been one team in history to win the Super Bowl at 5-5, and I think only 3 teams have made it throughout history.
Well, it's a good thing this is about whether they're a top 10 team.
Yeah, but basically, though,
Super Bowl pick right now.
Basically, you spend a lot of time talking about stability, and everything you're talking about is on Mahomes' shoulders. It's literally just him carrying this team. So what is how stable is that going to be? It takes one game and they're done. They lose one more game, they're not making the playoffs. That's kind of what's going to come down to.
6 losses if they're 11-6. I mean, I think the Titans and Raiders game we can chalk up as W's. Yes.
So
they're at least 7-5.
I just checked the stats right now. So it is about historical data has shown that approximately 9% of the teams that have been 5-5 throughout the history of the Super Bowl era have made to the playoffs. And to Joey's point, the top 10 strongest teams are the top 10 teams that are going to go to the playoffs. And I do agree with that point. So,
and they're ranked number 9 in the AFC. So we're not even accounting the NFC and their 7 playoff teams. So I don't know how you can justify having them in the top 10 right now. I don't care if it's Mahomes.
Again, to me, it's like it's literally Mahomes, and it was just the Broncos game for me, just point blank period. I think to me now versing a team where they will play them in the playoffs. If they can't win this, they're done for me. That's really all it is for me this week.
Colts games make or break.
I think. Well, this is kind of what I see. I think. I don't think there's any reason to think, like I said, they're 7-5, so there's 5 games left in the season. Colts, Texans, Cowboys, Chargers, Broncos, 5 competitive games. I don't see any reason why you don't believe the Chiefs can go 3-2 in that stretch.
But is that enough to get in? 10-7?
I think 11-6.
I thought there were 7 games.
I said the Titans and Raiders that's a win for the Chiefs for both of those games.
Oh, okay.
I understand anything can happen, but let's just try to
be for real.
Yeah, let's be for real. And so then you have those 5 competitive games. I think they should beat the Texans. I do think they should beat them. The Cowboys game is going to be really good.
Do you know who the number 1 overall defense is? It's the Texans.
Yeah, the Chiefs are right behind. The Chiefs on offense are one of the best offenses. If anyone could score against them, it's going to be Mahomes.
Somehow they're 5-5, and we kind of underlooked that for the Texans. And I'm kind of impressed.
No, I actually agree with you. I think the Texans' defense is definitely ahead of the Broncos. And it's ahead of the Rams. I think it is the best defense. Their offensive line is just so bad, and I think even though the Chiefs' defense has been bad, I think they will play good in that game. And, Mahomes doing what he does on offense will be enough for them to win. Cowboys game is going to be, I can't remember the last time these two teams played. And if there ever has even, I don't think it's ever been a Dak versus Mahomes matchup. I don't think we've ever seen it. So I'm super hyped for that. But I think between the Colts and Cowboys game, they should win one of those games. And then the Chargers Broncos, I think they should win one of those games. So they're kind of, you know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lose 3 out of 4 of those. I wouldn't be surprised. I can see them losing to the Colts, Dallas, and Denver again. They could beat the Chargers. The Chargers already beat them, so they can split. But the Broncos
the Chargers
are good
are
enough.
not the same team, though.
They beat them week 1 without Joe Alt and all those guys.
That's why he said they could split.
Was Joe Alt not playing until he played the Giants and suffered the high ankle sprain?
He was hurt to begin the year. He got hurt in training camp.
Yeah, but wasn't he just banged up?
I
could be wrong, but I'm asking you to tell me.
Either way, I already told you. I think they can split because the Chargers are a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Yeah, so he said that they would probably lose this game that's coming up against the Chargers.
I don't see them. I don't know if they can beat Denver. Is the problem.
Yeah, if I was a gambling man, I'd bet they go 5-2 in this stretch.
Well, they're gonna have to. I think they need to go 5-2.
Yeah, that's what they would need to do to make it. Like they're basically going through what Burrow went through last year. And this is where my question is like, if Mahomes could do this, yeah, I agree that Burrow and him, but to me, it's like if Mahomes cannot bring back a Chiefs team that Burrow had a worse defense than what Mahomes has right now, but of course Burrow has a lot better weapons than what Mahomes does right now. Mm-hmm. But defense in this case really matters more than anything else, if we're being so frank here. So it's like, that's to me, then we start having these questions about what's Mahomes really like at this moment. Like,
I think he's slightly regressed. I don't think the deep
ball. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I think the deep
and I agree. I'd agree with that statement.
Yeah, that's what he was so known for, was the deep ball taking over the top, and we never see it. And they have Xavier Worthy, and Xavier Worthy.
And they got Xavier Worthy.
I feel like that's what he used to be known for, though. Is that really how he won the Super Bowl versus the Eagles and the 49ers? I'm pretty sure he was dinking and dunking his way down the field to win those.
Yeah, the whole point is it's not even there anymore, and that used to be a part of, like, you had to worry about that.
Well, it kind of is.
That's how he won his first Super Bowl.
They're third in offensive EPA somehow.
Either way, I'd rather. With where they are, where everything is, I'd rather have them off my top 10 than justify putting them in there, considering where they're ranked right now. So we're talking about right now in the top 10.
I should give,
and they are number 9 in the AFC. So that's why I have them there. Sorry. And if you want to have the Chiefs, there's no way you can justify having them above these teams that are already in the playoffs picture. They should be at the highest 10. That's how I feel about it right now. And it's their fault. They've lost all these one-score games. Like it's not like I'm trying to hold them back. I'm not believing them. They just haven't proven it.
Well, for me, the 3 teams I have them above, for me they're kind of at like the top of a tier. They beat the Lions, so I have them above them. And the Lions have had it rough this year with some of their losses. Really good teams. They've been good at certain points, but we still haven't seen them reach their potential in the playoffs. Bills, I don't care that the Bills beat them, because we know that the Chiefs own them. And then the Packers are on my list, and I know you guys hate that. But my honorable mentions, Buccaneers, Jaguars, Steelers, Ravens. I don't care that the Jaguars beat them because of that pick 6. That game was going to go either way. And the Chiefs are obviously a much better team now than they were. The Buccaneers would actually be a pretty good game, but I would just lean Chiefs. Steelers, Ravens, and then we know they own the Ravens. So it's just some way, shape, or form, I think they are better than a lot of these other teams.
To the Jags thing, though, my problem with that is the Jags showed us this week they can beat you in a variety of ways, and that's kind of why I felt good about I had to put them in my top 10 because they can beat you with the pass or they can beat you with the run. What can the Chiefs do? They're a one-dimensional team, and they beat the Chiefs, so that's why they're on my list.
You're right.
They currently hold a 2-game advantage.
You're right. But I feel like with the Jaguars,
I know,
but you're right in the sense, there's a caveat. So you're right in the sense that the Jaguars can beat you in a variety of ways. I think they don't mean to do that. I think it just happens to them. I know they want to run the ball, but Trevor Lawrence, the way he won that game versus the Chiefs was So, did you see the game-winning touchdown? I mean, it's not this precision execution.
He fell twice.
Yeah, he fell twice. It's just the Jaguars. It's they're accidentally what are they 6-4 right now, 7-3? It's an accident. You know what I mean? They just so happen.
Go
Go ahead.
If they continue to lean into the run and they rotate running backs the way they did against the Chargers, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, but I feel
So they
like
did that. They did that without Travis Hunter, and they did that without BTJ, and that's a huge thing for me on offense is being able to run the ball. They showed us they could do that. And who's their head coach? Liam Cohen. Where was he at last year with the Bucks? Like he's the one that made the Bucks offense so dominant last year, and now he's doing that again with the Jags. And their defense is nasty. They
I
played
gotta get
pissed.
going. I gotta get going.
All
But
right, Dan. We'll take it from here.
catch you guys
I may have to.
later. Yeah.
Peace. I may have
See you,
to
Danny.
rearranging my screen real quick because now it's just us two on the camera. So just one moment, Joey, and then we can continue this discussion. So just a second, everybody. All right, and then I will also put the thumbnail in there for you guys because
Why not?
Because why not? Exactly.
What else do you want to cover here? Because I feel like we got a
So
lot of it.
I actually I want to talk about the Jaguars real quick, and then I will look back and see if there's anything it looks like we missed. But for the Jaguars, for me, they looked so good versus the Chiefs from like defense, and then like I'm kind of downplaying their offense and whatnot, but they had some nice moments, and it certainly looked rough after they lost Travis Hunter, and BTJ's been kind of hurt all year. But what just like really stuck in my head is right after that Chiefs game, they play the Seahawks. The offense looks bad. We know it's a problem for them. They lose. It's kind of close, 20-12. That's a pretty good game. But then they play the Rams and they lose 35-7 in that London game. That really should be like a home game for them. And I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence like at all leading this offense. Like I do agree the run game should help. And it should be.
I would lean into the run game for that purpose.
I think I really like what I see from the Jaguars moving forward, but I don't know that means I'm ready to say that they are a team that I expect to be like top 10 by season's end. So
My reasoning for top 10, number one, their defense. Number two, their run game. If I was like the GM of the Jags, what I would do with this offseason is I would get rid of Lawrence and I would find a new quarterback because I feel like that's what they need is a new quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is not it. I feel like he's in the same tier as Kyler Murray at this point of just like more of a name than actual production. And I think that's how you can fix the Jaguars and make them a real threat is to get a better quarterback because Trevor Lawrence is not that guy.
I have more allegations.
Go ahead.
So the 2 weeks prior to this Chargers game, the defensive performances, 29 points to the Raiders in overtime. They did clutch up on the last play and stop a 2-point conversion. So they did finish the job. So, but still 29 points to the Raiders in Brock Bowers' return. Maybe you can write that off. But 36 points to the Texans with Davis Mills. With the way this offensive line has been broken, that's a game I would have expected Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker to take over along with the rest of this defense. And it's just like, how can you come away from the inconsistency of like, yeah, I see the highs. I'm not saying that. Like, I agree. They have a good ceiling. Like I said, I like where they're going, but I don't see them as a top 10 team just because they have these are bad losses. Like if they were on my top 10 list, they would probably have three of the, let's see, the Seahawks game is not a bad loss. The Bengals loss is bad. Joe Flacco. I mean, I get it, but
Every given Sunday from Joe Flacco.
any given
But
Sunday
at the end of the
for
day, to answer your question, it's like I got him at 10 just strictly off of them currently holding the 7th seed. That's kind of why I put them there. Like they're holding on to that 7th seed. They had a big win against the Chargers. They stomped the Chargers, and that's why I had to put them there.
yeah.
Like if they were tied with the Chiefs would be there. But because they have that it's not a 1-game advantage, it's a 2-game advantage. So just because of that, I can't justify having the Chiefs over them.
You know, it's weird because I was looking at this today, like a lot of the standings and stuff, and there's a lot of glaring things because I come off as someone who's less who if anything goes against any form of recency bias. Like I love like sample sizes and seeing an entire season and like the playoffs and just like the whole shebang. Not that I wait until the very end to make any sort of change of mind, but I I always try to pick something to be some sort of, milestone for a team. There has to be one particular thing or a big moment. There's a lot of teams right now with like 7 wins right now, and they got playoff seeds right now, and I'm not sure they're going to hold on to those spots. Take for instance the Chicago Bears team. Like, I do like what I'm seeing from them, but am I really to believe, like, you have the Lions winning the division, based on your top 10 list, and you said that. So you're projecting, a team that is only 1 game behind, but they're projecting them to go ahead and take that division. Is there anywhere else like you feel like that's gonna happen? Like with this Chargers team being 7-4, like I definitely think this Chiefs team is gonna jump them. This 49ers team at 7-4, like I just feel like they're gonna suffer more losses and someone else is gonna get that 7 seed. Maybe I'm just not that excited about the idea of some of these broken teams making it into the playoffs. But what do you think? 49ers, Chargers, Bears.
I think the Ravens will win the division. I think that's kind of where we're headed. They've won 4 straight. They started 1-5 and now 5-5. They're a game back. Rodgers is banged up. So I would say the Ravens are going to get in for that reason, but does that knock the Steelers out, or does that knock the Steelers down to like 7 and have them sneak in? Because now it's like the Steelers and the Chiefs. That's going to be a thing, Mm-hmm. I kind of have a hard time. I mean, the Bills are what? They're like a game and a half behind the Patriots. I don't really see them. It's possible. The Patriots have an easy schedule, though, so I don't really know how much they're going to be able to make up for that. The Jags are 2 games back from the Colts. Let's see if they play. If they play a head-to-head game, that'd be huge.
I believe they do. They play one. I think it's the second to last. It's the last. They
have 2 games.
They have 2 games. That's huge, actually. That is so big, and I can't believe we didn't talk about that yet. But keep going.
The Colts have a lot to prove against the Jags. It depends on if the Jags, they show up or not. But historically, the Jags own the Colts, so that's something to keep in mind. I'm right. They historically own the Colts. Doesn't matter who's quarterback for the Jags. They find ways to beat them. So that's something to look out for. The Broncos pretty much won the AFC West, beating the Chiefs. They have like a 4-game advantage now. They would need the Chargers to fall out of the playoffs, which is not unrealistic.
Do you think that'll happen?
I don't know. They're 3-0 in the division, so that's kind of big.
Yeah.
They're 3-0 in the division, and then they're 6-2 in conference play. So they have a huge advantage over the Chiefs for that when it comes to standings, which is like another thing. They would have to be a game ahead of them. Is that going to be possible to make up 3 games on the Chargers? I don't know. Here's my bold take. NFC East pod. We know the Eagles. We know a team hasn't won a division back-to-back years in like 25 years, whatever that is. Can we really rule out Dallas winning the division? Because realistically, they are 3 games back from the Eagles, and they play the Eagles. But will the Eagles lose? I mean, really, I was hoping the Eagles would have lost games against like the Lions, and then who else did they beat recently?
They beat everybody.
The Lions and Packers. I was hoping those were going to, snowball into losses, but it didn't happen. That's kind of why I have them at number 1, because they were finding ways to win these games. I don't care the score. These games matter, and they're winning them. But when it comes to the division, they play Dallas. They got the Bears, the Chargers, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders. So if the Commanders can find a way to split, the Bills win. Bears, Chargers can maybe win. Dallas has to win on Sunday.
I do not think the Commanders will split. I will say that.
I don't know how out of I don't know if it's out of if it's not possible or not. We're gonna have to wait and see. It would have to be a historic choke job that we've seen them do before. So can we rule it out? No. Is it likely? Probably not. But it would be interesting to see if they can break that division curse and go back to back. And then
I think there's a good chance that they do. I'm not gonna lie.
And then in the NFC South, we got the Panthers. They play the Bucs this week. They're a game back, so that's another big game for them. The Panthers are a dangerous team. They have one of the best run offenses in football, and their defense is pretty solid. So and Bryce Young's playing great football.
Yeah, I know, and it's like every single time you think like he went down, he like fell, he got stepped on. It looked like he fell. It was like 4th down, I think. It's just like every time you're like, man, this is just not gonna work. And then Bryce Young comes back, breaks a record, wins the game. It's just like you love watching him play. That's first of all, but I would say second of all, it is impressive what Dave Canales and Bryce Young has done so far, and I think this is what people have been hoping for from this sort of Rams river of coaches that has flown from the Buccaneers and then two other teams. That theory, Dave Canales, we have Liam Cohen with the Jaguars.
Wasn't he an offensive coordinator for the Bucs?
Who's that?
Wasn't he an OC with the Bucs or no?
Who?
Dave Canales.
He was. He was also the offensive coordinator in Seattle in Geno Smith's first season.
It wasn't it Canales, and then it was Liam Cohen, and whoever they got now.
Josh Grizzard.
For the Bucs. Yeah, so is he going to be hired by somebody?
Hopefully the Giants.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Giants. And what's up, chat? I see you guys in the chat, by the way. How we doing? What's up?
Would you consider that the Todd Bowles tree?
Todd Bowles tree?
Yeah, for these OCs getting jobs, or is that like
I think
how do you
McVay's from Shanahan style. But
we haven't really addressed the Niners or what we think of them.
Yeah, and they're man, I
just don't believe in them.
We have to talk about them. I haven't believed in them like since the injury bug really took form in like week 5 or whatever. But who hasn't gotten hurt is Christian McCaffrey, and he was there when they went to the Super Bowl, and it's just like him being there just seems like this offensive satellite that just makes sure they could put up. And now Purdy's back, like I think he's better than Mac Jones. I understand I'm not a Purdy like sympathizer or anything, but I just think he brings some play extension that that's what that offense needs, that system needs that, because it sets up everything else for you, but. CMC being there is huge. They're getting healthier. Kittle's back, and he's been playing really, really well. And the defense, it's going to be a problem. But as long as Shanahan in the offense is viable, I think they could even like upset someone in the first round of the playoffs, like a team that like actually has the full package and can make it all the way. It's eventually going to crash and burn for this Niners team. I just don't know when. Could be in the playoffs. Could be them missing the playoffs. But Kyle Shanahan he should be the coach of the year. To be honest, from what we've seen from him, what he's done with this team, with any quarterback,
Mac Jones is comeback player.
It's like unheard of. I don't know any other offense or coach, team where they can lose. They can just produce and play the same with any quarterback. And now we're seeing it on the defensive side. Bringing Saleh back. Clearly, the guys he has under him are doing an awesome job too. Kyle Shanahan should be the coach of the year. I think that's the big takeaway from this 49ers team.
I don't have much to say other than that, but I want to put a pin in that. I just want to say, Gene Franceschini, if you're listening, the Yankees suck.
The Yankees are, they're hurting right now, but at least that last season was over. That start with Stanton and Cole both needing like the surgeries was just like you just knew from the start. It's just like
you got a career. Well, we have news today, Scott. We have a career, fourth outfielder, Trent Grisham. He has one outlier year. He's back with the Yankees for $22 million. That was not in the Yankees' plans.
So wait, I want to
go well, Yankees.
So we actually hope to talk some baseball at some point. You guys would see Paul again, but what I want to do as we close out this stream is I want to talk about some of the chat comments. I want to just read through these real quick. So Rob, who I've seen on the stream before, how we doing? He said the Eagles have beaten the Rams, Chiefs, Lions, Packers, and Bucs. Hardest schedule in the league by far. That would be the Giants, but
same schedule. You guys
pretty much pretty much the same. But we play those teams. The Eagles don't play themselves. But the defense only gave up 16 points the last 2 games, bring all the corners. Yeah, just like the way the Eagles look right now, it is very scary. They're my number 2 team. Couldn't care less about stats when I was growing up. You measure success in the NFL by winning in high-leverage games. Give me the Eagles all day. Won 24 of 27 games. Who else is doing that? They're definitely on a historic run right now. I am banking that there is only one team that can stop them. So I think that's still a lot of credit. Chiefs can definitely go on a run, Rob, so he's kind of agreeing with me and Dan there. Gene says he certainly can, the Chiefs. Once these games start to really matter in December on the high-leverage games, give me Eagles and Chiefs all day long. I don't trust any other team, and that's kind of how I feel and why the Chiefs are still on my list, even though they don't look as good right now. I think it's just like I know it's there. Jags,
Break
come on.
me's going to
This guy's iRob is upset at you for having the Jags over the Chiefs. So maybe if you want to kind of maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that, and then Gene also said we'll be back next year.
look at the standings and get back to me. That's all I gotta say.
All right, well,
Go look at the standings and get back to me.
all right, well, I guess that's pretty much all the biggest points of disagreement. Where all three of us did sort of agree on our lists is that the Eagles are top 2. We agree the
We
Patriots.
agreed on our top 3.
We agreed on our top 3s pretty much. The Patriots are definitely a top 4 team. The Seahawks are definitely a top 5 team. The Bills are like 8 or 9 right now. They're just floating around there. We don't really believe in what we're seeing from them based on the 3 losses they've had just been hideous. And then the Lions are like in that kind of 5 to 8 range. They're just like a good team. They could beat the Bills, and then they could also lose to them. That's kind of how I feel.
The
about
Ravens
them.
fall into the Bills category. We just don't really care.
I forgot to say my honorable mention, so let me just get that out, I guess, as a finishing point. No, I did say them. Bucks, Jags, Steelers, and Ravens. So,
And the Cowboys, right?
yeah, I want to see them play a better team, but I did like what I saw from the defense, but it's
They're gonna put belt to ass against the Eagles this week.
I think like second half of the season, like they could rank as a top 10 team, but according to your theory, they are like way out of the standings, so they should be out of it for a while until they get about what is
all
it,
I'm saying is
7 wins.
we saw when they acquired Amari Cooper and what is it 2018? They were 3-5, went on the run, ended up winning a playoff game that year, losing in the divisional round. So. And the only thing is that tie. The tie plays into their advantage. They need to win. They're in the same exact boat to me as the Chiefs, where they need to pretty much win out, and they play tough teams. I kind of don't think it's out of the ordinary if they can do that because of the defensive talent that's returned. Granted, I have no expectations for this season. It's all about next year with this team, with what they acquired, the talent that we have coming back from injury. Really just making sure we get out of this season with those guys healthy. Demario Overshown, Siobhan Revel. Revel looked like an animal. He played 19 snaps, but he looks like a tight end eliminator for what I saw from him. He was a first-round talent corner from East Carolina, and we were able to get him in a third round. And a shout-out to McCoy from the Titans, or from the Tennessee college corner. He's the best corner in this upcoming class, but he's in a similar boat. He tore his ACL in January, so he might be missing some time, but he's a first-round corner. So keep an eye out for McCoy. I forget his first name, but that's the guy that's going to be a stud. Same with Arvell Reese for the Ohio State, and then they got Sonny Styles, another Ohio State linebacker. You don't really talk much college football. What do you think about that?
Think about what?
College football, like you think Ohio State's going back-to-back. They have Matt Patricia at defensive coordinator, and he's been killing teams.
Yeah, I imagine if you have like a former NFL head coach, like isn't Wink Martindale still at Michigan as a defensive coordinator? And they won.
Ohio State won it. Ohio State won it last year, and they had Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator, and he left that job to be the Raiders OC and have the second to worst offense in football. But then again, it's really not Chip Kelly's fault. It's not Geno Smith's fault. Yes, that offensive line is pitiful.
It's terrible.
And I don't know how you can justify taking Genty over Armand Membu. That was kind of a huge error. Huge miscalculation by the Raiders.
Well, they are a team that has historically taken risks in the draft. They did take someone like Brock Bowers in sort of a best player available situation. And I'd say it panned out. I mean, I think, I think if you can fill in the offensive line this season, it's going to work out from like a long-term perspective, but like for this
I like
season,
Geno. I don't blame Geno for having the numbers he does because he has no time. Plus, it's not like he has all that talent anyway. And Brock Bowers has been hurt. But the thing is like they took Bowers the year before. They took Mike Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame, second round. So it's like they already had him.
I think
he's a starting tight end.
I think using 2 tight ends is becoming more common. Like we're seeing that with the Seahawks, the Rams. They run it from more of like a 3 wide receiver set, but like they have big wide receivers. Like the receiver schematically is coming back. So having a second tight end, like we see the Giants have been honestly most effective with both Bellinger and Theo Johnson out there, and they're not even two of the best tight ends in the NFL. So I think the Seahawks, Elijah Arroyo, and then AJ Barner, and then the Rams have Colby Parkinson, Ferguson, and Terrence Ferguson, and there's one more person that's escaping me. The Packers with Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. I don't hate it. That's all I'm saying. They yes, I agree though. They have nothing else to invest in than offensive line. I don't care if they don't have corners right now. Offensive line is the most important position in football. I understand what quarterback is, but as a unit, you can't do anything without those five.
So talking about that, who do you want the Giants to take in the first round this year? Do you want your number 2 receiver, or do you want your starting guard?
I'd rather trade back.
Tell me how you need.
I say this every year.
Tell me how you need your number 2 receiver. Tell me how you need number 2 receiver right now.
We can get one in the second with the top of the second round. We can get a wide receiver. There's plenty of wide receivers. There's not that many guards, so you have to go guard first round because there's only so many blue chip guards. There's like 10 like wide receivers that could be really good next to Malik Neighbors in probably any given draft class.
That's why Booker went 12 to Dallas, because he was the best guard in the draft.
It's a good pick, and the Cowboys always do that, and that's why they consistently at least have something with the offensive.
And
line.
What did the Giants never do? Invest in their line.
Well, Marcus Mboa, I know he's a 5th round pick, but at least we have him moving forward for the future as like our swing tackle. He was promising, and then hopefully this offseason we can get the Bears treatment and kind of invest in after a talented rookie QB season. I think a offensive coordinator will want to come, make it his. Let me sign all these weapons and linemen, and then hire a defensive coordinator to handle that, and then hopefully that's what the Giants do. But anyway, we're kind of
Mike McCarthy's coming to save you. Don't worry.
Yeah, and so this is a good time to end the show. Thank you all for watching. If you are watching for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any more of the streams. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8:30 is what we plan on. And drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Push it out to more people just like yourself who enjoy football content. And come hang out with us. We talk at those slow spots of the week, like Tuesday, what do you got going on today? It's like 2 days until Thursday Night Football. I can't wait. And then Thursday we got it. We're covering all the games, so you have them ready. It's very, very early available, and we're excited about the podcast moving forward. We've got some developments that we will be ready to share soon. So that's all I got for you guys in this one. Joey, you got anything for the audience? So sayonara.
BTA's coming Sunday. That's all I gotta say.
Well, we'll see about that.
Sunday's my Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, the Giants won their Super Bowl this season, so I guess I can hang my hat on that.
Yeah.
All right.